As the motion be agreed to, those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. Are there any select committee reports?
Reports of the Commerce Committee on the Fair Trading Soliciting on Behalf of Charities Amendment Bill and on the 2009-10 Financial Review of Transpower New Zealand Limited. Report of the Finance and Expenditure Committee on the Taxation Income Sharing Tax Credit Bill. Reports of the Foreign Affairs, Defence and Trade Committee on the briefing on Egypt and the Middle East, on the briefing on the Provincial Reconstruction Team in Afghanistan, and on the International Treaty Examination of the Convention on the Conservation and Management of High Seas Fishery Resources in the South Pacific Ocean. Reports of the Local Government and Environment Committee on the 2009-10 financial reviews of the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Authority and the New Zealand Walking Access Commission.
Those bills are set down for second reading, and the reports of the Foreign Affairs, Defence and Trade Committee are set down for consideration. Are there any bills for introduction? There are no bills for introduction. The House then comes to point of order. The Honourable Rodney Hyde.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I raise a point of order that shoots to the heart of the integrity of our Parliament, and it's this, Mr Speaker. What assurance are you able to give this House that the Maori interpreters that we have in this House operating under your jurisdiction won't repeatedly mislead this Parliament, as happened on Wednesday last week?
Order. I can assure the member that the interpreters will give an accurate interpretation of, I take it the member is referring to a vote that occurred in the House. The member will recollect I made it very clear at the time when I was recalled to the House that voting is a very serious business, and that where members do not vote according to the standing orders, their vote won't be counted. And I think that is, and the interpreters have been instructed to make sure that they do interpret what is said by members during voting, and if members do not comply with the standing orders, their votes won't be counted.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order, the Honourable Rodney Hyde.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and thank you for that. Will the House, and if so when, will we get an honest interpretation for the Parliament of what it was that Honi Harawira actually said when the vote was being taken, because so far we haven't had it?
This particular issue was dealt with at the time by this House, and that is the end of the matter. And there's not a case of what the member has just alleged. I dealt with the matter at the time I was recalled to the House. The chair of the Committee of the Whole had already dealt with the particular issue. I dealt with the wider matter when I was recalled as Speaker, and that is the end of the matter.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
The Honourable Rodney Hyde.
Again, not wishing to contradict you in any way, shape or form. However, what you dealt with was that it's the obligation of a Member of Parliament standing up in Parliament to vote according to the rules, the standing orders of this Parliament. The issue that I'm raising, in fact, is a more serious one, and that is when a member speaks in Maori and the interpreter provides for this House something entirely different, which is what happened repeatedly.
Order. No, I'm not going to let the member carry on in this vein. The matter has been dealt with. It has been dealt with. The interpreters have been instructed that they are to interpret exactly what the member says so that the chair can assess whether or not the standing orders of this House have been followed. And that's the end of the matter. That is the instruction that's been given to the interpreters. I'm not going to entertain any more points of order on that along that line. I have dealt with that matter.
Well, point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order, the Honourable Rodney Hyde.
Will this House get an interpretation of what it was that Honi Harawira did in Parliament?
I've told the member the matter has been dealt with. If he continues to raise points of order, I'll have to deal with them. I don't wish to do that. But the matter has been dealt with. The chair at the time did what he believed was, he interpreted what he was advised by the interpreters in terms of the voting intention of the member. I was recalled. I made it clear how issues were to be dealt with in the future, and that is the end of the matter. The vote was recorded as the member had intended, and that is the end of the matter. The matter is not going to arise again, so there is no further point of order.
Point of order.
Point of order, the Honourable Rodney Hyde.
Mr Speaker, it's the Hansard. My question is, will the Hansard accurately reflect what Hani Haurawara said?
Order. The convention of the House is the Hansard only records the votes cast. It does not record particular words during voting. It only records the votes cast. And there is no change to that. Point of order, the Honourable Darren Hughes.
Mr Speaker, just coming from that exchange you've just had, one issue that does arise is when members do vote in Māori, that's not translated over the television or radio broadcasting at that time. And given the issue has come up, I wonder, sir, whether you would take that into account. That's under your control for that to happen, so that people who are watching the proceedings of the House are aware of which way parties have voted. Just seems that's a time to bring that up while this issue about members' understanding of te reo being used is in front of you.
If the member wishes to pursue it with me further, my understanding is that the interpretation of the voting taking place would be the same as during debates, and so the procedures to achieve the interpretation during debate should deliver the same interpretation during voting. If that's proving not to be the case, I'd appreciate the member.
Speaking of the point of order, sorry, I should have been clearer with you. I was referring to viewers who are following. For us in the House, we have
I mean viewers on television. The procedures that viewers need to follow to pick up the English interpretation when Māori is being used during debates should also have on television the voting picked up, the interpretation of voting picked up as well. And but if that is not happening, I'm very happy to check the matter out further, because that should be happening. The House now comes to questions for oral answer, and the first question stands